All right, so right now this is the fully functional, finalized game. I press play, my fish goes here. It's eating the fish. My score is going up. If I get hit by the crab, my scores goes down. Now, one enhancement you can do is to make it a two-player game. So what you want to do is make two different sharks, so you can have like a left player and a player one and a player two, right? So the easiest thing first, and we've already done this a little bit, is if you right click on the shark, I'm going to duplicate him so I don't have to rewrite most of the code. And I'm just going to call that shark two or shark three. It automatically names itself. I'm going to first go into my costumes and I'm going to recolor this shark so I can tell the difference between my different sharks. So I'm going to make a like a red shark and a blue shark. So I'm going to make this red shark. Go over here, use my paint bucket, and I'm just going to fill in this shark for both costume A and costume B because remember it rotates between those. So now that'll be easy to tell the difference between shark for player one and shark for player two. Then I'm going to go into my new red shark and I'm going to reconfigure my directionals. So usually if you have somebody who is a player two on your keyboard, you do AWSD is for your like your left, right, up, and down because one hand can do those. So you're looking for your left arrow and you're going to change left arrow instead of left arrow. Now it's the letter A. Your right arrow now is the letter D. Your up arrow is the letter W. And then your down arrow is going to be the letter S. So that changes you now to the AWSD controls, right? So I can try that out now. If I press play, I can control this shark separately from this shark. So one can go down, one can go up. So I can do a two-player game, right, at the same time. Now I want to make it so that those two sharks are playing against each other. So I currently only have a single variable of a score. So I'm going to go inside my variables and I'm going to rename this variable to score player one, or I could call it score for the blue or blue shark score or something like that. So I'm going to call it blue score just because I'm differentiating mine based on their color. So there's my blue score. And then so that works out for my blue shark. I've already programmed that previously so that when the blue shark touches those fish. But now we want to make it so that the red shark, when it touches the fish, it gets a different score. So I'm going to go in here under my variables. I'm going to make a new variable. I'm going to call this red score. Thanks. All right, it goes right underneath it. And then I'm going to go into my red sharks programming. And I'm going to make it so that, actually, I'm going to go inside my fish, sorry. Go inside my fish because right now it says if touching shark 2, then it's going to do this stuff, right? But I'm going to duplicate this because I need to also create almost the exact same thing, but I need to define what's going to happen if it's touching shark 3, which is my red shark. Right? And sometimes it's confusing, so I like to rename my shark names. But shark 3 is my red shark, and the only difference is that it changes now red score by 1 instead of changing just the blue score. So what that does is if it's touching shark 2, which is my blue shark, it's going to change the blue score by 1. If it touches the red shark, which is shark 3, it's going to change the red score by 1, right? So that has been added to this one particular fish. I'm going to take this and add it to my other fish. Just grab it, drop it on that blue fish, drop it on the yellow fish. I'm going to drop it on the crab because the crab needs to take away points. Whoops. And now I can go inside each of those fish and just attach it where it's supposed to go, which is right there. Go inside my yellow fish, attach it right there. Go inside my crab, attach it right there. And I need to change that because it's instead of a positive, it's a -5 to make it match what it does up there. And now I should have a fully functional two-player game where my blue fish is increasing the blue score or decreasing because I keep on doing it, or my red fish is decreasing or increasing the score. So that is a cool enhancement that you can do to make a two-player game, really just making multiple variables. Now, there are a couple other things you could do in here. There's actually quite a few things you could do. You could go into your fish, your shark here, and you could add something that says something like, if your score becomes negative, the fish dies, right? So let's do that. Let's say I have my shark right here. I'm going to program my blue shark to do this. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add within my forever a new conditional that has an if. So I'm going to put it in here and say if something happens, right? So let's just say if my score ends up being less than 0. So I'm going to look for the less than right here, all right? I'm going to put that little operator inside the if statement. I'm going to say if the score is less than 0, which would be it's negative, then something happens. So I can go grab my variable here. This is my blue shark, so the blue shark only cares about the blue score. I drag that into there. I drop it into there. Now, what do I want to have happen if the blue shark score goes below 0? I'm going to say, you know what? I want the you to switch to this costume. Switch to costume 2C, which is the one where you look sick, right? And then I want you to hide because you're dead. And then I want everything to stop because the game is over. So I could go to looks, scroll down here. I want you to hide. Oop, actually, I don't want you to hide because I just switched your costumes. That would make it so you can't even see my costume. How about I just make it so that you glide to the top, right? So I could actually make it so that you glide. So there's this cool thing, right?
Yeah, I'm blind. Okay, now speak up.
All right, so I'm going to zoom in here. It's a little hard when so I'm adding this. If the blue score is less than 0, I'm going to switch to costume 2C, which is like a sick-looking shark, and then I'm going to have you glide for like 3 seconds, and I'm going to have you go all the way to the top of the screen, which would be like X23, Y136. And if you run that code, it will make you float to the top, and then you would have to continue to enhance that. All right? So those are some enhancements you can do.